Welcome to Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theatre. This is Lisa Condit, and I am joined today by Nel Lazour, our Director of Development, and Ed Madaus, one of our founders. And we're all excited because we have a big date coming up. It's March 14th, 5 years and counting. We have a really great Access Hanover Lyceum Series event coming, one of our membership benefits. And Ed is going to be there, and he's going to be talking about memories of, remember when, Ed? Remember 5 years ago?
Well, I actually remember 13 years ago, but I do remember 5 years ago, and I was on the stage. And if enough people come, it's my understanding I'll be able to get on the stage again.
Hey, let's make that a goal, everybody. We want Ed Madaus back on the stage at the Hanover Theatre. So you know what? Let's go back when you said you remember 13 years ago.
In May of 2000, actually, is when this was all just an idea. And we worked on it until the grand opening on March 14th of 2008.
I remember it well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it was really you and Paul, right? Paul
Right.
DeMoga. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was actually 5 of us in the beginning, but when it came time to put the money up, it was Paul and I. There was not a place to do a Broadway show in Worcester. The Memorial Auditorium had closed in 1998. And it was obvious that that would never open again. And like I said, there was no place to do a Broadway show, and we were over at WCRN and looked across the street, and there was a sign there at the Lowe's Poli. Well, it'd always be the Lowe's Poli for me, but the Showcase Cinema and the for sale sign. We contacted Kelleher and Sadowski the next day and put a $5,000 deposit on the building. And then it took another 8 years, but it happened.
Well, and so you mentioned, obviously, Paul
Yep,
DeMoga.
Paul DeMoga, yep.
And so this Founders Forum, you and Paul are going to be talking about your memories, building this theater,
Right.
opening it, and
Right.
you're inviting other people to participate as well. And I think that's an important part.
Yeah, I
the
mean, there
group.
was so many people, and I don't want to start to name them all because I know I'll forget somebody. But by the night of the forum, I think we'll have everybody. But there were people like Bob Nemeth from the Telegram and Gazette, who had a great faith in us and did articles periodically to keep the interest up. People like Mike Angelini at Bowditch and Dewey and George Tetler at Bowditch and Dewey that helped us pro bono set up our 501c3 nonprofit corporation. The city manager, the present city manager, who was always there to give us encouragement and whatever support we needed. And then, of course, the obvious ones like Mary DeFutis, who was one of the first generous benefactors, and then, of course, Fred Eppinger from Hanover Insurance, who came in with the naming rights. But there were literally hundreds of people between them that helped with this. It was a real community effort.
Well, and it's interesting to me because I've been involved for a little over 5 years.
Yes.
And I remember hearing the stories of you and Paul talking about how people thought you were crazy.
Oh, yeah. Certifiable.
But you know what? We've shown them, haven't we? 5 years, top 50 theater in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that it would fail. I thought that we were our own, and you'll appreciate this because you're the marketer, we were our own marketing area. We never really had good entertainment. The Memorial Auditorium would try. However, the sight lines were terrible, and the acoustics were even worse. So you'd go there, and you really wouldn't get a good experience. But as it turned out, we were right. We built it, and the people did come. And what are we, 44 in the world?
We're consistently,
quite good.
We're consistently in the top 50.
Right.
We've been there for a few years now.
Right.
Sometimes we get as high as 38.
Right.
Sometimes, we're a little bit closer to 50.
Right.
But depends on the shows, and, we keep getting better and better acts. And I want to hear a little bit from Nel, because Nel is our Director of Development. I love the fact that this is a membership event. And obviously, members are our lifeblood. You say that all of the time. Do you want to talk a little bit about the benefits of membership and how this is a really important day for members to come and participate?
Well, the Access Hanover Lyceum events are really geared towards member. They started out as a membership benefit, and now they've really grown to be more of a community kind of series where we engage the local community. In the past, we've had partnerships with Preservation Worcester and with other nonprofit organizations that kind of come together to have discussions or to offer some of their own offerings within the community. So we did Building the New Worcester, which really was supposed to focus on the new theater district. And so to me, I think how it's evolved over time, and I often think of Ed and Paul in that, can you believe that after 5 years, we've been able to do so much, that it has been such an incredible thing in the community, and the numbers of leadership members that we have giving $1,000 and more every year is over 250. And so it's just amazing to me. And I kind of want to hear from you as to whether or not you ever dreamed that it would be as successful as it is.
And I also want to just point out that it's not just about membership. We want to be here for another however many years. We've got 5 years under our belt, but we have a lot more great things to do, and we need everybody's support. So there are some points you probably want to touch on with that as well. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, the place is relatively new. We put $31 million into it, so virtually everything in the building is new. But over time, things start to deteriorate, and we'd like to have a little bit. We've got a mortgage of about $5 million, and we've started a capital campaign and have raised almost 60%. And we're going to start to go to the public very shortly to raise the rest. But you look at places like Mechanics Hall and the Art Museum, and you look at what they spend every year to keep the building up, and it kind of worries us because we're going to have to put some money away to change the rugs and do the painting, and God forbid that we get a leak in the roof, but it is New England and we have a flat roof. So we're looking certainly to the future. But in answer to Nell's question, yeah, I always thought it was going to be a success. So
that's what I love. I thought it was going to be a success too, Ed. I came in a lot later than 13 years ago, but from the very beginning, I mean, obviously this has been a great project for not just Worcester, but central New England. Right. And sometimes I think Worcester needs to get out of its own way because this is a world-class institution. Yep. And it's a nonprofit, which is an important piece to touch on too, especially because we're talking about membership, we're talking about this programming, we're talking about your capital campaign. Right. Being a nonprofit also has benefits for the community where we're able to give back in ways and offer programming that other for-profit cultural institutions wouldn't be able to provide. So do either one of you want to comment on that?
Well, you're right. And so when I say we've been very successful, it doesn't mean we stop here. There's always, it's always important for us to be out there promoting the fact that we're a nonprofit and getting people to join as a member, whether it's a $50 basic membership or a leadership membership. I think it's an important philanthropic institution to support, and we can't stop at any point and get sort of comfortable in our skin because, as you said, we're a nonprofit and our mission is not bottom line, even though we're profitable, we've been profitable for the last 3 years, our mission really is to community and the cultural needs of the community. So we're always there trying to find ways to give back to our members in benefit and value, and I think we're great in that respect. I think people have come back every year and renewed their membership because of that. So the capital campaign is a whole other piece of it. It's a one-time donation to this particular campaign to really protect our investment, that initial $31.5 million investment that we have. And so once we are able to do that, we'll be able to reinvest back into our beautiful building.
And that's why it's called Securing the Future as the capital campaign. So one of the things that I know we should touch on, because we are obviously very proud of the fact that when we're one of the top 50 theaters in the world, people think, ooh, they must be doing great, and I pay a lot of money to go see shows there. Whew, Diana Krall's going to cost me X. Or, what's going on with that $50 ticket that I just bought? Well, really, only $2 of that $50 goes back to the theater. The rest really goes to bringing the talent in. And we are an absolutely gorgeous venue. We've won awards from the National Trust of Historic Preservation, and it takes money to polish the brass, for a lack of a better way to put it in perspective. We have a lot of lights to generate energy for it. Ted Hudson has done a great job capitalizing on solar energy, but we still have bills to pay. And I think that one of the messages I want to get out there as far as being a nonprofit, it enables us to do programming that other people wouldn't be able to do, like when we had Palobolis, like when we partner with other community groups. And Ed, I know you've been really a big part of making sure that we are working with a lot of different community groups. Your organization is actually sponsoring Les Mis coming up in April. And so do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, the Guild of St. Agnes is a child care agency in Worcester. We serve about 1,200 kids around Worcester County in 7 centers and so on. And we thought for the 100th year anniversary, it would be appropriate to sponsor Les Mis. It also shows the growth in the theater. Now, generally, our shows ran from Friday to Sunday with 5 performances. We're taking a full week, which is a big step for us. We did it with Mary Poppins, and now we're going to do it with Les Mis, and I think the tickets are going very, very well. When you talk about community support, the theater gives thousands of tickets out every year to schools and so on. They give 1,000 tickets out for Troy Siebel's production of A Christmas Carol. And believe it or not, we had 21,500 people to see that show this Christmas. Unbelievable when you look at the numbers. And right after that, we had West Side Story, and that basically sold out on all 5 performances of West Side Story. So, you know, when other nonprofits around the country, and we talked to them all, and in fact, I had a meeting with all of the theaters on Friday afternoon with Troy. A lot of them are struggling. We're doing very well. However, when we say we're in the black, I think last year we were in the black by $60,000. That's not a lot of money, but it is in the it is in the black. So we're looking forward to reducing that mortgage and bringing that down to 0, and that would help. That would help tremendously.
Well, secure the future.
Exactly. One more thing I'd like to say is that I think that since the theater was opened, I think it was a big morale booster for the city of Worcester. There had been a lot of people that came in and made promises, and then nothing ever happened. I remember one of the stories in Worcester Magazine before the current owners. They speculated that we would have Judith Light as our main star. Judith Light, if you people will remember, opened the Worcester Common outlet malls when they reopened a few years back. But no, we've had Diana Ross, and we've had George Carlin, and we could go on and on a lot. All world-class entertainment. And I think because of our success, you only have to talk to Fred Eppinger. He said because of the success of the theater is why he invested in City Square. And I think all of the things that are happening right now, the Gateway and all the stuff that the colleges are doing and what's going on down at UMass is somewhat connected to the success of the Hanover Theatre.